Hello and welcome to the European Circle report. In the past week, EU representatives have been at odds over both the budget for the forthcoming year and the Union's multi-annual financial framework for the period between 2014 to 2020. The budget proposals of the European Commission, European Parliament and the 27 member states are all very different from one another. The Council, however, has insisted it would like to agree on a budget by the end of this year. The revenue for the EU budget will likely be earned through tax duty and levy income, VAT intakes, and a small percentage of the gross national income of member states. Germany, Great Britain, Finland and other financial contributors to the European Union argue that the new EU budget should not exceed even 1% of the EU's economic performance, which amounts to approximately €1 trillion. These countries in particular have complained about paying more into the EU budget than they actually receive in return. The EU Commission seeks to increase the member state donation to 1.1% of gross national income, which would in turn raise the budget threshold by about €100 million. The Council of the European Union agreed in July that expenditure will be around 2.79% more than the 2012 budget has allowed for. Meanwhile, the European Parliament seems to be headed on a collision course in the EU budget dispute. On Tuesday, MEPs in Strasbourg overwhelmingly agreed on their position regarding the EU 2013 budget. They wholly rejected the cuts proposed by the National Treasury, which would have meant cuts of €1.1 billion in commitment appropriations and cancellations. They also rejected cuts of €5.2 billion proposed by the European Council in payment appropriations. The MEPs voted on a future increase of payment appropriations to €151.1 billion, which is an increase of 6.82% in comparison with 2012. At the last EU summit, the President of the European Council, Herman Van Rompuy, presented a proposal that will establish a special budget for Eurozone nations. This new so-called fiscal capacity will exist alongside the EU budget. Financial resources will be made available to certain Eurozone countries, which should help in the promotion of growth and the implementation of reforms. Opponents of the Eurozone budget complain that there are no specific plans in place which may finance Herman Van Rompuy's proposals. Should we have a minimum quota for women working in the EU? Well, the EU Commissioner Viviane Reding is determined to introduce this plan for women that are in leadership positions throughout Europe. For months, Reding has been preparing for the necessary steps for the implementation of her proposal. The proposal was supposed to be discussed this past Tuesday at the meeting of the European Commission. This did not come to pass, however, as certain colleagues of Reding directly blocked the proposal. It is not just men that seem to oppose the quota. Strong resistance also comes in the form of certain female EU commissioners. Amongst them, the Dutch Commissioner Neelie Kroes is particularly opposed to the idea of an all-female quota. Still, the statistics are in favour of Reding's proposals. Only 13.5% of management posts throughout the EU are occupied by women. Until now, other arrangements that have tried to change the status quo have not had the desired effect. It seemed inevitable that plans such as Reding's would come to the fore. Reding's proposal aims to fill supervisory boards of large corporations with a female share of 40% from January 2020. Companies that do not abide by these rules may even be liable to face penalties, consisting of monetary fines, with the withdrawal of government subsidies and also the exclusion of these companies from public competition. Viviane Reding was given encouragement for her proposals from numerous German politicians. In the Bundestag, both Labour Minister Ursula von der Leyen of the CDU and the Green Party leader Renate Künast have previously argued for the introduction of a minimum quota for women. However, nothing is certain yet as there has been no official vote. As Tuesday's press conference was cancelled, a date in mid-November has been chosen which will discuss the EU quota for women. That was the European Circle report for this week. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.